Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you had a nice little coffee break, and I am looking forward to this late morning session. Welcome, Andy. It's good to see you back. I haven't been bounced yet, but we'll see. Right. So our next speaker originally hails from Tunisia. And like so many other young people around the world, came to Scotland for uni. And it was here that she began her path towards digital and design. And she went on to create an AR filter that went viral, generating over 1 billion impressions, which is an impressive number. And she's now a product designer at Perkbox, but she's going to be talking about some of the design and product lessons she took from that AR filter experience, as well as her follow-on work after that. So can we welcome to our stage Miriam Khenissi, please? Miriam.
Thank you. Awesome, thanks. So last time I was at DB, it was actually about 6 years ago, and I attended as a student. So this feels really like a full circle moment, and I'm very honored to be speaking on stage. So a brief introduction about myself is I work as a product designer, but I love learning new skills and new technologies. And one of the skills that I picked up during lockdown was AR filters, specifically on social media. And I had a few different ideas that I really wanted to get out there. And today I'm going to be talking about one of my most successful filters and all of the lessons that I learned from it that I was able to implement in my day-to-day job as a product designer. So what are AR filters? Has anyone here used AR filters before? Quite a few. So AR filters started off with Snapchat back in 2015. One of the OG filters is the dog with a tongue coming out. And since then, they have evolved a lot. They have become a really engaging tool for brands and companies to engage with their clients and also advertise products. So an example here is a campaign by Dior where they allow their users to test out makeup without even leaving their house. So they don't have to go in store and they can easily try it on. And it's a really fun way and organic way as well to create user-generated content and improve the brand awareness. Of course, now AI is everywhere, including AR filters. And one of the really fun ways where AI is implemented is turning yourself into your favorite character. So my favorite example is Shrek. I love seeing how people look like as a Shrek character. And how AR filters are made, there are at the moment 2 big platforms, Lens Studio for Snapchat and Effect House for TikTok. So this is an example of a filter that I built called Where to Eat Out in Edinburgh. I know there's quite a few people visiting, so I made this filter that combines all of my favorite restaurants in Edinburgh. You start recording yourself, and it gives you a random place to eat out. So if you're looking for any places to eat later on, I'll share this filter with you. And basically how it works, there's no code involved. It's all node coding and logic attached to each other. So how it works is I created an animation sequence where I stitched together all the different restaurants that I wanted to show, and the logic would randomize through this animation sequence and randomly pause. So that is what the nodes over there are doing. Another piece of logic that is determining how the filters are working is what triggers the filter. So is it tapping the screen? Is it nodding my head? Is it starting recording? And you can configure all of this really easily. And this is quite a basic filter to make as well. So the filter that I'll be talking about today is called Can You Guess the Country? It basically shows you a few different clues, a combination of symbols and letters, and you have to guess the name of the country. So let's see how it works.
Guess the country. Austria. Austria. Bonfire. Guess the country. Andorre. 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 Wow. Come on, got this. P-Lips location. P-Lips location. What? Guess the country. Shout leaf. Scream leaf. Scream leaf. Scream leaf. Guess the country.
His laugh is contagious. I love that guy. So this filter gathered was global from day one because it was a simple concept. Everyone can understand it. And it gathered over 1 billion impressions. But the most important thing for me was the 3 lessons that I learned that I could implement in my day-to-day job. So the very first lesson was to ship fast and iterate. It took me so long to actually press on the publish button and get the filter out there in the world. I was overthinking, what if the clues are too easy? What if they're too complicated? I only had 10 clues to start with, and I didn't feel like it was ready to be out there. But I'm so happy that I launched it, because once it was out there and in the hands of people using it, I actually started receiving messages from people giving me new clues and new countries that they wanted to see in the game. This also allowed me to get quick user feedback and actually see how people are using the game. I initially started the filter with only 5 seconds to see the result, and I noticed that that was way too quick. So I ended up changing the counter to be 8 seconds instead. So all these really small details really helped me ship a better product. Little did I know that this is actually a thing in the product world, and it's called MVPs, minimum viable products. It's starting really small, and then shipping and iterating once you get more user feedback. And it's really just figuring out what is the bare bones, what is the core functionality that I want to get out there, and building from it based on user feedback. It also allows people to fail fast and learn from mistakes. And I think today, with the world of AI and amazing tools such as Cursor and Lovable, it's never been easier to experiment with ideas and get something out there and just see how it works. And that user feedback that you get is really important, which takes me to my next lesson. Data-driven decision-making. At the peak of my filter, there were hundreds of videos and stories posted by people from all over the world using the game. And I spent hours watching all of these videos and even going into the comments and reading how people were reacting to all of the clues. Which country was funnier than others? Which ones resonated with people? Which ones didn't? And based on all of this data that was coming into me, I came out with 3 key insights. First of all is outrageous clues means higher engagement. Can anyone guess what the first one is? Sweden, yeah. So that ended up with a huge controversy because Swedes are not the most popular vegetables. And let's face it, that icon isn't really the best. It kind of looks like a radish or a turnip. But that ended up in so many different debates and conversations in the comments, which ended up making the videos of people using this particular country a lot more engaging and popular. It even ended up on Edinburgh News. So I started tapping into these more far-fetched clues to get the engagement up. The second insight is that people actually get happy when they figure out a country correctly. So how users would post their posts using the filter, as we see with Bash earlier, they usually go through a few different countries and stitch them together. And I would observe how people's interaction would change from one clue to another. And it usually takes 1 or 2 different tries to get the gist of it. But once someone gets a country correctly, there's this little spark in their face. There's this little hit of dopamine. So I had to make sure that I was balancing the hard, far-fetched clues with the easy-to-guess one, because at the end of the day, it's a fun game. We want people to feel good when they're playing it. And the last insight was actually where I failed, and I would talk about this more in my 3rd lesson, and it's sharing outside of Instagram. Lots of people were recording themselves and posting the videos onto TikTok, which was still pretty new back then. And there was definitely a need for the filter to be recreated on TikTok, but I didn't end up recreating it. So when it comes to data-driven decisions at Perkbox, this is something that we live and breathe. It's something that, since I joined a couple of years ago, we have interacted with our customers in lots of different ways. We have regular user interviews, we send out surveys, we have focus groups, and one of my favorite is observing people while they're interacting with a product in real life, which mimics how I was doing the user research for my filter. And we have this repository on Notion where we log all of our different insights into one place. And with tools like Notion AI and custom GBTs, we're able to actually query all of the different data that we have in the past couple of years and share them with the wider team. So it makes user research a lot faster and accessible as well. The 3rd lesson is maintaining momentum. When I launched the filter, at the peak of it, lots of people were sharing it outside on TikTok as well. And I should have jumped on the trend. I should have recreated it and put it out there on TikTok and not just Instagram. But it took me so long, and other people actually ended up stealing the idea and creating their own Timo version of the filter and putting it out there. But they were quicker than me. They capitalized on my own idea. And this is a lesson that I learned, is not to sleep on too much on something if it's successful, because especially in the world of tech and social media, things move on really quickly. And my idea that was really fun and creative a couple of years ago is quite stale and simple now because of the technology and how it's changed and evolved so much. And this was something that was that I learned even more at Perkbox. And our CPO always tells us momentum breeds momentum. And it's something that resonated with me a lot. It's something that we do both internally and externally. Internally, whenever we have a fun, exciting feature, all of the teams get together. It's really a cross-functional team. We get sales involved so they can practice their pitch. We get marketing as well so we can discuss GTM plans. And it just keeps the excitement going within the company. And we do the same thing with our clients as well. And when it comes to MVPs, we want to ship out something really quickly to get something out there and build the excitement. And then from all the data that we gather from that MVP, we are keeping the momentum going and keeping our customers excited and looking forward to the next release. So really, my key takeaway is if you have an idea, even if you think that it's very silly, just put it out there, because you never know. It might go viral, it might start a trend, and worst case scenario, you will learn a lesson. Thank you.
Slido action going here. Okay, cool. I'll start actually first just to wind things back. What was the original inspiration for creating this filter, or what was the context?
Yeah, so this wasn't actually my first go at filters. My very first filter was actually a randomizer that shows you which character you are from a viral TV show in Tunisia. And it was really popular in Tunisia, but I realized that it's not global, it's not international, because it's confined within the people that know that TV show. So I started thinking about ways to make this more expandable and international, something that could work with everyone, no matter where location they are. So I came across this random Facebook game. It wasn't even a proper game. It was just like these people posting emojis and letters. And I thought that would be a really good idea to recreate as a filter. And that's how it started.
Okay, cool. I mean, but what was the context? Were you a student at the time? You were, okay, in Tunisia or here?
I was a student here.
You were here, okay.
Yeah, so I was actually just finishing up my bachelor's in computer science. So I'm the opposite of Ayo. I started off as a front-end developer and then moved into design because I just wanted to be part of the design process and shape the end feature.
Okay. So we have a couple questions from the audience here about monetizing filters as a creator. Is that something that is possible or?
With Instagram and Meta, it wasn't. So although I got so many different impressions, I never got paid for anything. With TikTok, it's actually different. So TikTok do monetize filters, but it's not a huge amount of money. It's like a few different vouchers every here and then with every milestone. However, I did get a few clients out of it, so that was a way to monetize it.
Okay. Interesting. Now, excuse me, you mentioned, speaking of TikTok, that along the way you had a moment where you could have obviously brought it over and you hesitated. How long was that hesitation?
2 years.
2 years, okay. So you took a bit of a career break and no. So, I mean, why, I guess ultimately why did you take such a long time?
Just procrastination, and that's the lesson that I learned, is to keep the momentum going if something is successful. Yeah, and just life happens, and you get busy, but it should have been something that I capitalized on.
Okay. So there's no question here about how do you think adapting the audience GPT that Matt presented might change the user research process?
So I think it's not 100% taking over user research, at least not at Perkbox. But it's a really quick way to go through all of the different repository of notes and insights that we have to be able to pick up on common themes. So it just makes the process quicker. Okay.
So, yeah. So, and then you, I guess, have you managed to exercise? I mean, obviously you created the filter as a student where I guess anything went. And now you're in a professional context. Are you able to kind of exercise creativity like this in that professional context?
It's something that I really want to do, and it's something that I do with my own clients, but not in product.
Okay. And then I could see why that would be a limitation, which I guess is why oftentimes people leave companies to be able to be more creative. I'm not suggesting that you resign. But it's not uncommon. There's another question here. Do you have any thoughts on the accuracy of AR filters for shade matching foundation?
Yeah, so it's something that a lot of big brands are starting to use even inside of their store. So instead of giving you a sample, you would just sit in front of a camera and they would match the shades. I don't think it's 100% accurate, but I think it is close enough. And it's a really good way to test something without seeing it. But I personally prefer that kind of use case for things like lipstick because it's not as sensitive as foundation matches, and things like trying on jewelry as well. I've seen quite a few brands test out jewelry for people.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.